Trucks get people's attention as they roar down the roads because they are so big and have so many different kinds of axles. But have you ever thought about why the sizes of these axles vary so much? Get ready to be surprised as we explain why there are so many different kinds of truck axles. Axles for trucks come in different sizes, and each size serves a different purpose based on load capacity and how weight is distributed. The load capacity is the most weight that an axle can safely carry, and the weight distribution makes sure that the weight is spread out properly over all axles. Standard axles. Most light-duty trucks, delivery vehicles, and smaller business trucks have standard axles. These axles are made to handle mild loads and to be stable and easy to move on paved roads. Most of the time, their widths are between 2.35 and 5 inches. Standard axles are good for everyday transportation needs because they have a good balance between how much weight they can move and how much fuel they use. On city streets, country roads, and freeways, these axles are very important for keeping the movement smooth and under control. Heavy-duty axles. Heavy-duty axles are made to work well in tough situations like construction, mining, and off-road activities. The diameters of these wheels range from 5 to 8 inches or more, which is a big difference. Heavy-duty axles are bigger and stronger so they can carry heavy loads and stand up to rough situations like rough surfaces and uneven surfaces. They do a good job of distributing weight, which gives them stability and makes sure they can hold up under big loads. Heavy-duty axles are important parts for businesses that need to move large, heavy materials or equipment. Tandem and tridem. Axles. Tandem axles have two axles close to each other and are often found on highway trucks and some light-duty commercial cars. These axles share the load, so the weight is spread out better, and the vehicle is more stable. Tandem axles lessen the stress on individual axles, tires, and road surfaces by spreading the weight over two axles instead of one. This setup keeps things from wearing out too quickly and makes them safer overall. Tridem axles spread the weight even more evenly by having 3 axles, so they can carry even more weight. These axles are usually found on heavy-duty trucks that are used for special tasks or in places where weight limits require more wheels. Steer axles and drive axles. Each type of axle on a truck with more than one axle does something different. The truck's steering is controlled by the steering axle, which is at the front of the car. Its size depends on things like how heavy the front of the truck is, how the turning works, and how easy it needs to be to turn. Steer axles need to be strong enough to hold the weight of the front end while still being responsive and easy to control. On the other hand, the drive axles are in the back and are in charge of sending power from the engine to the wheels. Especially on heavy-duty trucks, the drive axles are often bigger so they can handle the increased force and weight spread caused by the engine power and payload. These axles are very important for moving the truck forward and making sure that the wheels get the power they need. Specialized axles. Some truck layouts and specialty cars need axles that are designed differently to meet certain needs. For example, trailers made to carry very big or large loads may have axles with diameters larger than 8 inches to make sure they can handle the weight. These specialized axles are made to handle the heavy weight and special needs of the uses they are made for. They may have extra features like stronger frames, better brakes, and specialized suspension systems to improve speed and safety. Lift axles. Lift axles are made to give extra support and flexibility in certain scenarios. These axles can be raised or lowered as needed, so the number of axles touching the ground can be changed. When the lift axle isn't needed, it can be lifted to save gas and wear on the tires. This feature is especially helpful when trucks need to meet rules that limit how much weight they can put on each axle. By raising the lift axle when it's not needed, the truck can move with fewer axles touching the road, lowering the weight on the road and making sure it doesn't go over the weight limit. On the other hand, if more weight needs to be carried, the lift axle can be dropped to spread the weight and make the vehicle more stable. This lets the truck carry bigger loads without putting safety at risk or going over weight limits. Lift axles are often used in fields like transportation, construction, and farming where weight limits and load flexibility are important. Tag axles. Tag axles are extra axles that are not driven by the engine of the truck. They are usually attached behind the drive axles and are meant to give extra support and load carrying ability. Tag axles can be raised when they're not needed and dropped when more weight needs to be spread out. When trucks have to carry things that are too big or too heavy, these axles are very important. By adding the tag axle to the setup, the truck's total load carrying capacity goes up, making sure it can carry the extra weight safely. Tag axles also help spread the weight out more evenly, which puts less stress on each axle, tire, and road itself. This makes the vehicle more stable and easier to control, especially when making sharp turns or going over rough territory. Pusher axles. Pusher axles are similar to lift axles in that they provide extra support and load-carrying ability. The pushing axles, on the other hand, are in front of the drive axles instead of behind them. Like lift axles, pusher axles can be raised when they aren't being used and dropped to give more traction and spread the weight. Most of the time, pusher axles are used in heavy-duty cars and other special situations where more pushing power is needed. For example, in heavy haulage, where trucks carry very heavy loads, the pusher axles can be lowered to help spread the weight more evenly across the wheels. This makes the truck more stable and gives it better traction. This makes sure that the truck can handle harsh conditions, high hills, and slippery surfaces. By spreading the weight out better, pusher wheels reduce the chance of a tire slipping and make the truck more efficient and safer as a whole. Independent suspension. Axles. Most truck axles have solid axles and leaf spring frames, but some newer trucks have independent suspension axles. Each wheel can move on its own with an independent suspension. This makes for a more comfortable ride, better handling, and better grip. By separating the movement of each wheel from the movement of the others, independent suspension axles can effectively absorb bumps in the road, making the truck and its passengers feel fewer shocks. This makes the ride smoother and more comfortable, which is especially important for high-end luxury cars or long-haul vehicles. Self-steering axles. Self-steering axles are made to make it easier to turn and lessen tire wear. Most of the time, these axles are in trailers where the back wheels can turn or steer in response to how the truck moves. Self-steering axles' main goal is to improve tracking and reduce tire wear. When a truck or trailer turns, the wheels on the inside of the turn typically go in a tighter circle than the wheels on the outside. This can make the tires rub against the road, causing them to wear out faster and last less time. Self-steering axles get around this problem by letting the back wheels turn, which lines them up with the path of the turn. This leads to less rubbing and even tire wear, which makes tires last longer and costs less to maintain. The size of a truck's axles is not only based on how well it needs to work, but also on laws. Governments set rules to make sure that transportation is safe, keep roads from getting too worn down, and make sure that transportation laws are being followed. Axle loads and configurations are controlled by weight rules. There are limits on how much each axle, each group of axles, and the whole car can weigh. These rules change from place to place and depend on things like the type of road, how much it can hold, and how it affects the environment. Trucks must follow these rules to escape fines, keep infrastructure from getting damaged, and keep safety standards high. Axles are not just one size that fits all. Their sizes change based on how much they can carry, how the weight is distributed, the terrain, and the laws. Every axle size is carefully picked to improve performance, stability, and safety. By learning about the different kinds of axles and what they do, we can better understand the complex engineering that goes into trucks and how they can move things quickly and safely. So the next time you see a truck on the road, take a moment to enjoy the engineering marvel underneath it, the axle which holds it up and moves it forward.